All right. Good evening and welcome to Family Council at AID. I am Lori Baker, and we have with us today Nikki Ondyak. Is that how you say it, Nikki? Do I say it right when I say it?
Man, yes.
Good. Yeah. Here comes another Jim Gould. And maybe because Jim forwarded his.
That could be because that's how I got on.
Yeah. That's probably why everybody keeps showing up as Jim Gould, but Nikki Ondyak and Courtney Littlejohn, who are AID staff members, and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then they're going to be talking today about AID employment services and community day services.
We'll turn your camera off.
Yeah, I want to do that actually. Hi, Georgine.
Georgine, do you want me to turn your camera off? Do you want that off? I'm sorry. What did you say? I muted you. Here comes another James Gould. I love it. Oh, I can't wait to tell this story. Here we go. Hello. All right. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll let Courtney and Nikki introduce themselves and their roles at AID, and then I will share their PowerPoint as we get rolling here.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am Courtney Littlejohn. Sorry, and I'll go off and mute myself as well because the dog always barks when I'm talking. But I am Courtney Littlejohn, and thanks for having me and Nikki here this evening. I am our Vice President of Equity and Inclusion, which includes oversight of Community Day Services and our employment program. And just happy to do the overview for you all this evening. And I'll let Nikki introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki Ondyak. I am the Director of Employment Services with AID. I oversee our Employment First department, and I assist in the development of our pathways to employment.
Hopefully people can see my screen. I'm going to get ready to start the slideshow. All right. People can see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
So we're going to be talking today about our Employment First and Community Day Services. It'll be a really brief general overview. Here with AID, we go off of the model of Employment First and Employment for All. We believe in assisting individuals with finding community employment. In this presentation in the employment program, we're going to be discussing briefly about the employment services, JNA trainee program, procurement and logistics program, and finally the food skills training program. The last three are all within the pathways to employment that we'll be talking about. So in regards to our philosophy in the Employment First Department, our belief is that every person with a disability has the capability of working competitively in the community if they're given the right job, the right work environment, the right work support, and that can be found in approved supports. Just to give you a brief oversight, this is our team. In regards to the Employment First Department, we are scattered between the Aurora to McHenry area. There is one manager along with 7 employment specialists, and then in the pathways to employment, we have the Jenny Diane Pillar. Procurement logistics is Michael Kilbury, and in our food skills training, Anna Barnes. So in regards to the approach that we go to when it comes to employment, we work under the model of IPS. IPS stands for Individual Placement Services. It's an evidence-based approach in regards to working with individuals. It started off for individuals with mental illness and securing employment. And it works under 8 key principles, which you can read there on the right-hand side of this presentation. Now, we do acknowledge that this approach did start off in regards for individuals with mental illness. However, in regards to AID, we have established or noticed that we are able to use this same approach with individuals in the IDD sector. In addition, because of our advocacy and support with organizations such as ours, we have been able to spark additional research throughout Illinois to be able to increase the potentials of individuals with disabilities being able to provide IPS services with other agencies. So what's the goal for employment services? The goal for us is to be able to assist job seekers in being able to find competitive, integrative community employment. So in regards to the services that we provide, as the IPS stands, it's not one whole basket of things. We allow the clients to be able to choose the type of need that they need. But traditionally, most of the services that we provide are things that are listed below, such as resume development, interview prep, application, job search, job development, and more. Now, once we receive a referral, we automatically open our clients to DRS. We do have 2 types of contracts with DRS to be able to provide community services, and they are primary funders. So because of that, all of our clients that we do get within our program will be at some point open to DRS to be able to gather additional assistance. Once DRS is opened, they have contractual, we have a contract to ensure that they have consistent meetings and benchmarks in regards to our clients. Now, in regards to the referral process for AID, the queue will speak to our client and submit a referral for either initial job placement, or if the client is at risk of losing their job retention, to our employment first manager, Tom Coker. From there, he will assign that client to an employment specialist, so that way that employment specialist can begin working with the client. That employment specialist will then, from that point on, will be able to keep in contact with the client's queue throughout this entire process to be able to set up an initial meeting prior to meeting with the client to ensure that we have all of barriers, strengths, and anything that they need to know prior to that meeting. And then finally, the employment specialist, once they get to meet the client, get all the initial paperwork, they will submit the referral to DRS. Now, in the past, I do realize that working with clients and staff, some of the staff have assisted clients in getting employment and then sent the referrals to our department. We have since then changed our qualifications to address specifically for clients who are needing placement services as well as the job retention. And then we also thought that we'd highlight some of the job placements that we've had within this fiscal year just for our DD department. So these are all employers that have employed somebody from our IDD programs. Sorry, it flipped on me, so I can only see the people. I can't see the presentation anymore.
I don't know why I still have it shared. Everybody else can see, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I got it fixed. The view, it was the view
Oh, yeah,
got messed up.
right.
Okay, so as discussed in regards to our pathways to employment, we have 3 different sections. This is our Gen Aid. Gen Aid works in regards to providing hands-on training in regards to janitorial services. So they provide the various types of trainings in regards to cleaning, disinfecting towards all of AID locations and being able to provide hands-on development. In order to work in our Gen Aid program, because it is a temporary training service, you do have to go through our Employment First program in order to get a referral from there. The next pathways to employment process that we have is our food service training program that is constantly in development. We have seen a lot of growth within this fiscal year. The goals of the program itself is to be able to assess consist level of nutritious meals served through things such as our hot lunch program, skill developments of our clients and staff. Now, in regards to our hot lunch program, clients are able to work and assist in developing and prepping service in both Thompson and ETC in a limited capacity. They are working to increase that probably in the near future or sometime in the future, but there's also cooking classes for clients. Right now, it's only in the ETC programming, as well as sometime in expected around the September range for staff to get food handling courses in regards to all DSPs to be able to provide more consistent services for our clients. So it is a lot of growth happening in that department. And finally, the last section of our pathways to employment is our procurement and logistics program. Now, their goal is to be able to provide healthy pantry stables to all of our residents within residential, CDS, crisis management programs. Their goal is to provide basic supplies to our behavioral health offices. Currently, there's 7 clients working in that program, and they are constantly working to develop various skills for our clients, such as like reading, packing, picking, delivering, and other types of job development skills.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. I will shift over and give you all a overview of our community day services. And so our services, our sites, is Thompson Center, Keeler, Elgin Training Center, and our STARS programs, and our Bridge Street program. And so at Thompson Center, Thompson Center is, if you may recall, is our work program. And so this is where we have external customers, excuse me, and we provide work for them. And so that's piecework, assembling and putting items together on a contract basis. And so that work happens there at Thompson Center. It used to happen at Thompson and Elgin, but with the pandemic, we condensed the program, and so now it is only at Thompson. However, there are individuals from Elgin who still want to work, and so they will come down to Thompson Center to work. And so in between that, we also do programming at Thompson Center. And these are just some examples of classes and activities that they're doing. Gardening, I wanted to put at the top because this is the time of year and they've started a beautiful garden right there in the back of Thompson Center. And you'll see some of the pictures of the clients working and manning the garden. So they're very, very excited, and it is lovely if you're ever out that way to take a look. They also have classes, money management, they do women's history, so different themes throughout the week occurs. And then some of the outings, these are some of the outings that they have coming up. Visits to the Red Oak Nature Center, Fire Museum, Dollar Tree, because the clients did vote on, they want to do a little shopping, and then the park at Fabian. And so we will continue to really bolster our community outings and balancing it with our work there at Thompson Center.
So just a reminder, Thompson Center is located in Aurora.
Yes. Then we have Bridge, which is in Yorkville, and our STARS locations. So Eola, Sugar Grove, and Batavia Center. And again, these are just some very high level examples of the engagement activities that they do. So they engage in activities at the site, but they also go out. And so some of the things that they do, Bridge Street recently went to the Kendall County Outdoor Education Center, which was really cool. You can see in the picture there, they are touching some of the animal skins or animal pellets. We had another picture because they have this one section of, the taxidermist animals all on the wall. So we had a picture of the clients really enjoying that. A group of them took the metro station to next couple of stops, and they had lunch in the park and then came back. They do movie outings and lunch outings, and those are voted on to decide where they want to go. And bowling has become very competitive and a fan favorite, as well as karaoke. The same holds true for the STARS locations and in collaboration with the Fox Valley Special Rec Center as well. So we collaborate with them, and these are some of the things that they do. Again, they have activities on site as well, a lot of outings as well. And I think the next picture shows an outing from just this week. They all went to the Cougars game. So that's another fan favorite. And then we have Keeler. Keeler Center is located in Aurora as well, across from our administrative building. And at Keeler, we have different programs and different classrooms. Some of the classrooms are balanced with the different levels of abilities of our clients there. And the staff do a really great job of really seeing what they want to do. So each classroom can be unique as far as what they're doing. But again, this is an overview of some of the things that they've done. They do things together as well. Dancing and the big parties are favorites. So those are things, activities that they will all do together. We're also tapping into the talents of the staff a little more. This fiscal year, there was a concert recently put on by the staff. The baking classes was actually done by our director. She is a phenomenal baker, but she did the classes there in each of the class. So it's really fun. They do Spirit Week, the hairstyling. There was a staff member. So this is a picture. She loves doing hair. And so they did hair with different accessories. They even colored the hair with, with chalk. So it's really fun. And it's nice to see the staff also engaged. And so that's why we're really trying to lean towards balancing what their strengths are and giving those choices to our clients as well. And then the last fun one was our therapy dog visit from the Fox Valley Therapy Group. Then our next slide is Elgin. Yes. And so this took on a redesign actually at the end of last fiscal year and really kicked off more this year. We redesigned the layout there at the training center where it's divided into stations. And so all of the clients rotate through the stations, and there are staff that are, again, playing to their strengths, kind of running those stations. And in the meantime, there are groups that also go out into the community. And so those stations are divided up into educational, arts and crafts, IT, smart board interaction, some vocational with task bins, physical exercising. So now the whole layout of the floor is mapped out, and it's an indoor walking path. And what I forgot to add on here, because it just started last week, is a gaming station. So we had a client who's really into gaming, didn't really like a couple of the other stations. And so kind of polled a couple of the other clients. And so now we have a gaming station. And in a couple of outings that they do, Elgin Rec Center, again, another walking path. They swim once a week, utilize the gym. Volunteer at Habitat for Humanity at the Restore. We just started in Schaumburg at Feed My Starving Children, so we'll be going there once a month, and the Greater Elgin Food Bank as well, and some fun visits at the Elgin Police Station and Peck Farm. So those are the pictures that you see there. And the next slide. Hope I didn't.
Courtney, I was going to ask a question before you go on. What
Oh
was
yeah, I'm sorry.
what was the news station that you said was started in Elgin?
Gaming.
Gaming. I thought you said gleaning, and I was trying to figure out what we were gleaning. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks for slowing me down. Sorry, I didn't mean to type Peck Farm twice. The Elgin Fire, and these are the pictures more for the fire department and the police department. A hot lunch program has really been fun. I wanted to just reiterate it. I know Nikki mentioned it earlier, but that's really been fun. It is a set menu, but clients and staff can choose if they want to eat that day. The whole menu is posted. They pay for it, and then we always have 2 clients working, and they're earning money to work and do just kind of the whole thing. In between the hot lunch program days, they also go shopping. So they're learning how to read labels, they're reading their menu and identifying the ingredients that's needed. And it also happens at Elgin as well as Aurora. So that's been really fun for everyone, actually. And that is it. So any questions?
You'll have to unmute yourself because I made sure everybody was on mute. So if you have questions, please unmute.
I do have a question about employment. And it's something that we'd really like for my son. I don't know if he really wants it for himself. So we're trying to work through that. So I guess a couple questions are, number one, if he tried something and for whatever reason it was determined it didn't work out, would he be able to subsequently try something different?
So one of the main parts of IPS, which is my favorite principle, is zero exclusion. So the zero exclusion, I kind of ran with it in multiple areas. One is the type of disabilities, which is why we also include developmental and intellectual disabilities and stuff like that. But the main premise of it was because nobody was to be turned down just because of their disability. So if somebody, as long as they're active, they can stay in our program as long as they want our services. If they ever leave and they need to come back, all they need to do is send us a new referral. There is no time limit in regards to them coming back and receiving services for us.
And there is no failure. So, you know, I mean, like many of us had to try different things to decide what it was we wanted to do in life. I'm still not sure if I'm done, right? So, you know, it is not, it is very much about having an experience, what worked or what didn't work in that experience, what do we like or not like, and then is there something different that we want to try in terms of ongoing opportunity
And
work.
yeah, and it does take for many of the individuals that we've worked with, it does take more than once, more than twice. We're working with
Okay.
someone now, I think they're on their, gosh, Alita's client, Nikki, I think he might be on his third or fourth job right now, just in the last 2 years. So it's, as Lori stated and Nikki stated, you know, we keep trying as long as they're motivated and they want to. We can't force anyone to. Then we'll keep trying. And sometimes they just need a break, which is fine as well. It's not like, oh, I don't want to try. And then there's a time limit where you need to come back in 6 months or 3 months. And
Okay.
it's nothing like that. It's whenever they're ready and whatever works. I hope that answers your question.
Well, yes, that's one part of it. Another part of it is, I guess I'm thinking the level of support. Now, and we've talked about this, and Lori knows this, and you know, we've talked to different people. My son does some great volunteer things with us, with his father and I separately. But he really benefits from the support. And I you know, I've gotten the impression that through doors or in some ways, yes, you'll get a coach or assistant or whatever for X length of time with the intention that you'll do it independently. And I don't know if he can do that. Is it still possible? I mean, how long can he get some kind of support? Does that make any sense?
Yes, great question. Sorry, Courtney.
No, go.
Oh, sorry.
So that's a great question. Any client that's coming in, so we have two methods that we get referrals from AID. One is internal referrals, so it's a client that we receive internally that's already open to AID that gets services from AID. There's one that gets services from DRS. The reason why I'm explaining that is because if they're open to AID, they get services from AID, then even though they get close to DRS, they still have us as their job coach. So DRS for clients that are open to AID is just as a secondary resource. So they have extra backup, kind of thinking of that when they're trying to start off in that initial phase of finding employment. Once they're considered stable and they don't need that extra support, DRS will close. But as long as they were initially open to AID, they will stay open to us for as long as they need services. So if it gets to a point where they no longer need our services, then we will eventually talk about closing them in that range and stuff. And then in regards to maybe needing extra support at work, we've had clients with all types of needs. Some clients have been really successful by themselves. They just needed hands-on coaching in the beginning, and then they got really good at it. Some of them needed like visual cues and visual supports and stuff like that, which we were able to connect them with. And then they did really good as long as they had those visual cues. Some of them might have needed check-ins occasionally. Some might even need like one-on-one support. So there's been all types of support services that we've been able to advocate for our clients in different levels in that case to help set them up for success on whatever that success might look like for them.
Are most of those, I know this is my last question, I promise. Are most of those opportunities for one-on-one? I know something like JanAid is a group. I don't know how big the group is. And, you know, Jim and I have talked about it and wondered if maybe that's a better fit for David to be in a group, to have that peer, you know, support, interaction, you know, that sort of thing, as opposed to someone who just goes to work at Culver's or someone who just goes to work at Goodwill. Are there other group sites, you know, like I say, besides something like JanAid or
I think I'm understanding your question. Do we have other employment sites where they're going as a group versus individual? Is
Yeah,
that your, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Jan 8 is the only place, and that is considered, a training program. And so
right.
one thing that DRS and even the division, they've changed their criteria for employment supports. They've changed that where you can't have an enclave. There are some organizations that do that. We don't have a site where we do that. Externally, I know that they do exist, and there's still some what's the word I'm looking for? It's not recognized by DRS as competitive integrated employment. I think that's where the sticky point is, because if they're in a group, then they're working alongside one another versus integrated with other
Oh, okay.
coworkers who do not have a
Yeah.
disability.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a federal thing, that
Right.
home and
Hmm.
community-based settings regulations and 14C and all of these things are being reviewed and upgraded. The enclave is what they used to call it, which was a group of people doing work together. Like you might see, people used to get contracts. Well, probably still have them at the, at rest stops, right, along the road to go. And that generally is usually people with disabilities that go in a group and clean those sites, something like Jan Aid, which is considered a training program. If it was not,
Got it.
it would be considered an enclave if it was all people with disabilities, only working
Got
with
it.
other people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So it's kind of yeah, so that's part of the reason why I think in the pathways to employment realm, right, we are giving have worked on making opportunities right within those
Mhm.
food delivery, within Jan
Mhm.
Aid, within the food prep to
Gotcha.
work
Okay.
a group together, right? But that would probably not be the ending spot, right, for people
Right.
unless they decided through that experience that they weren't interested in working at all, right? Which could happen, but it's around definitions that we don't control,
Gotcha.
for what gets
No,
paid
no.
for.
Yeah. Now I understand. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other questions? Yes, Candace?
It seems like the Keeler clients don't get off the campus much, but the stars do. Is that true? So is there ever a chance for like a kid at Keeler to hitch a ride and get out off campus?
So we do, yes, to answer your question. And part of that is we are just at the point where we're stabilizing out our staffing and training our staffing. With the pandemic, we obviously took a hit with that, and trying to bring staff back and making sure that from a safety standpoint, we're covered in supervision. So that is a goal. You're spot on with that, that we are working towards. And part of our staffing and reassigning individuals to their classrooms is to balance that out. So let's say you have that classroom of 6, and we want to focus on smaller groups going out versus all 6 going out. So smaller, and then we can increase our frequency. So if you have a classroom of 6, you have 3 people going out, then the 3 clients left, they're easily managed to be moved to another class for supervision while their staff is out on an outing. And so we're currently working on that literally as we speak. So our director of program development and our director and manager at Keeler are making those reassignments and those expectations so that we get them out more.
So we did go out a lot more before COVID, and then
Then we lost.
Yeah, and then being closed, and we lost many of those staff members. And then even if we had staff members for the classroom, many many of the clients at Keeler need one-on-one supports as well. And we have had zero luck with hiring one-on-one supports that do individual supports with people for most of their activities of daily living, feeding, et cetera, right? And so that has made it incredibly difficult. One, we are only about at half the capacity that we were at before the pandemic at Keeler. So we are serving about half of the people there because we can't safely bring the rest of the people back because we can't hire
Right.
staff that's needed to support them. And two, it is a more support intensive group. So it takes more people to help safely support them in the community. So, with having the reduction in staff, it's made it very hard. So it's not intentional, but we have to be able to meet the safety needs and the support needs of everyone safely, or it's not a successful outing into the community. So that's been our biggest issues at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't see these issues going away. We're trying to do everything that we can to, and have been for several years, trying to hire staff. And, obviously we have, been able to increase wages and do some of those things, but we're still about, the same as what you would get paid at a Subway to make a sandwich, as opposed to, helping someone that has a high level of support needs do all their activities of daily living. Those are two very different choices to potentially make about the same amount of money. So it's hard to compete.
But we are working on it.
Yeah, I say,
Trust me.
not an excuse, but but just a reality.
we
at this
are.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question though.
Mhm.
And believe me, we're talking about it all the time about how to do it, because we want everybody, I think, that's what AID does best, is try to support people in living and working in their communities of choice. But some things are easier than other things, and hiring people is not one of those easy things at the moment. Other questions? Yes, you need to unmute. You are muted still. There you
Okay, question. It kind of piggybacks on what Candace said. I've just been, my daughter's been out of day programming out of Keeler since COVID hit. And you spoke a little bit about some of the issues and why that's most likely why she's still sitting at home. And I'm just hoping and praying every day that something can be done to encourage and hire staff. I mean, it's hard to, I don't even know how you operate when you only can have 50% of your population there. Is Keeler the only one program that's has 50% of their population back? Are they one of the less attended programs? Does that make sense?
Sure. We have another of our other ones, not necessarily 50%, but the biggest is just getting the right folks, and the one-to-one support has been our biggest challenge. So not all of our sites are at 100% because it's our ratios and our staffing. And even, I mean, I can tell you, even when folks come in and we're like, this is good, people just aren't staying, right? I mean, we could, as Lori mentioned, we've increased our wages, and if we're at, I'm throwing out a number, $16, but I can go make $16.25. People are leaving just for things like that. So not only are we working really hard to get them in, but to really show them, what they're going to be doing, and really pouring into that is not a guarantee that in less than 90 days, they're going to stay. It's just trying to keep them attracted and even retain. I can't tell you how many of my directors, they can schedule me. We just had one today, trying to fill a position, had the interview scheduled for a week, and people aren't showing up. So it's just, we're trying. Our recruitment team is out there. We have a second recruiter that's out there just trying to find those niche recruitment strategies. I mean, we're pouring a lot into not only our wages, but our efforts in getting people in. So I know that was a very long-winded answer to your question, but
No, I'm sorry, I'm just a little, Kristen, hold on for a second. No, that's, I mean, it's a good answer and it's concrete. It's just, I'm just wondering what you can recommend to parents in the interim, what we should be, I mean, you know, our loved ones went from getting service every day to nothing, like nothing. So there's got to be something that could be done in the interim for the people that used to attend Keeler.
I would
there-
recommend applying
I'm-
for respite services that might be able to give some relief to you and be able to you know, in Clearbrook covers this area with respite related services, but we have about 640 positions at AID and about 550 staff. Every payroll, we are paying about $120,000 in overtime, and we don't get paid overtime in order just to have someone at a residential location where we're required to have 24-hour help. We don't, you know, we haven't been accepting or creating new residential locations, even though there are all kinds of people that are on the waiting list for that through Ligas, you know, class action lawsuit and people being involved in that. You know, we have to be able to safely, you know, we have a certain, if somebody has, you know, something written into their plan, right, we have to follow that. We have to have certain ratios based on the needs of the people that we are serving. So it breaks our heart not to be able to meet the needs of the people and not bring back people that we had previously served. But I mean, we have paid we pay sign-on bonuses. We have paid retention payments. We have bought out people's PTO. We have you know, given more money in benefits and different types of benefits to try to induce people to come and stay. We have increased our wages every time the Division of Developmental Disabilities or the people at the state have you know, provided that funding, right? You know, it's not going into, you know, luxury yachts or, you know, nice carpeting or anything else, right? It's going straight into people's salaries because we recognize that what we do is services, right? So if we don't have people, we have no ability to do what we do. And, you know,
But it's just interesting to me because she has such a high level of funding that does not any good to me unless she's in a day program, you know, because I can't, it's ISILA funding, but we can say all wonderful things about ISILA funding, but I as a parent can't access that. It's only going to be good to her if she's in a day program.
Right.
So it's
that
you know.
or you know, I mean, if it's home-based program, and then it can come to you, so you could switch to HBS, you know, and pay yourself for the services. I'm just saying that is one of the only ways that you can pay for the services that you are providing, which would just pay for a, you know, drop in the bucket, probably 10 hours a week out of, you know, 168 hours a week that you are providing services. But
I'm sure you're all trying the hardest you can to get staff, but it's really not about me being paid to take care of her. It's about her missing out on 9 years that she was there and she liked going. And Kristen's not the only one. I know there's obviously, you said 50% early or back, you know.
right.
So I know Kristen's not the only one. It's just,
It breaks our heart. It's not
hard.
what
It's
we're
super
here
hard.
to do either, right? You know, I mean, that's not
what's that?
yeah,
Sorry.
you know, I mean, our goal is to serve the people in need the services, right? But I, you know, believe me, if I could figure out ways to clone people or make people come and work, I would have done it a long time ago. But we are, I mean, I know that it doesn't help you, but we have been constantly trying all different kinds of avenues, changing the way that we put ads out there, changing the way that we train and support people, you know, trying to show the folks that we do get hired, you know, how we appreciate their work, how important it is to the people that they serve, you know. It just, you know, and we just are getting, you know, a raise again, hopefully, that hopefully it'll get approved to go into effect by January, you know, so that we can do some further increases, you know, because the state has given some more money, but, you know, also minimum wage is going up again in January, right? So like, it's just like every little claw hold forward you get in maybe paying more, you know, then there's some other advance somewhere else so that you're just even again, or barely, you know, barely in front of what minimum wage or other things are. And believe me, we know we don't understand because we're not experiencing it ourselves, but we know of the people that have been at home since COVID started, you know, that haven't had anything, and we completely know that, and we keep, you know, fighting and trying to do everything we can to be able to get more and more people to come work so we can get more people back. But
Mhm.
I don't know where they all went to, but they are gone, and you know, trying to get them back.
Honey, Mom, he's on a meeting. Okay, okay. Yeah, oh, well, you know, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
bothering me for a long time, so,
Yeah.
and I've talked to many people and I just haven't heard from anybody for a while, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wondering.
Yeah, it's still, I mean, it's still workforce everywhere. Every company I talk to, no matter what kind of company it is, no matter where they are in the United States, you know, nobody has the employees that they need. And unfortunately, like, we can't automate things, right? People can't work from home in
Right.
our industry, right? You know, so they can make those choices, you know, to take the people that are looking for a job, you know, to work from home.
We're on a meeting,
To
honey.
not, you know, to not have those challenges. So all I can say is that, you know, I'm sorry that that's the way the world is at the moment, and we continue to keep and are committed to you know, doing everything we can to bring people back and get employees in here.
I'm sure you are. It's just been 3+ years here, so I'm getting a little
I know,
frustrated. So, honey, okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
I get it. Yeah.
Kristen, honey. Yeah, but thank you very much. I'll just keep you posted. Yes, honey. Nice, mommy. Thank you. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Okay, mommy's we'll go.
Other questions?
Lori, I don't have a question about any of that. I have something to add to our meeting last time.
Okay.
You were asking for volunteer opportunities, and I think I mentioned it to you at the walk, but I wanted to further remind you about, you said you needed people to help with the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holiday
So,
wrapping. Yeah, we had, there were several of you that like emailed or, you know, let me know afterwards. And so I passed on that information to our resource development team who is working, that works on Holiday Hope, and will be reaching out when it's time to shop and wrap. So
okay.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the reminder, Julie. I don't know 100% that I gave them your name. I know I gave them other people that emailed me. So thank you for reminding me about you. Any other questions or? No. All right. Not hearing anything, I will adjourn our meeting for tonight. Our next meeting is July 27th And if I remember correctly, I think that's our in-person meeting. So keep an eye out. We'll send out information about it. I think it'll be our picnic. It's either July or August. I can't remember which one is our in-person meeting, but we were going to do a picnic like we did last year. We started earlier. We started at 6, so it could be dinner. So we will send out flyers and information. We'll post it on the Facebook group and all that in order to make sure. I just forgot to look at the schedule before I jumped on here, so I should have looked at that and confirmed it. I'm sorry. But I believe it is the July meeting. Susan, do you think that's right or wrong?
I don't know. I'm making faces because I don't know. And what would the location be?
I think that we were going to do it in Aurora because we did the first social thing in Elgin.
Right,
When we did desserts and
right.
and tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not ringing a bell with me, but that doesn't mean anything. That means
I know we had a
nothing.
second social day, support day
Okay.
that we call it, right? Scheduled, and it was either July or August. So that we could have like a picnic. And last year, if you remember, we did do like hot dogs and hamburger. We had like Rulins, I think, brought us stuff. I will get that information out ASAP to everyone so they can get it in their schedule. Because again, we usually meet earlier on that one so we can have dinner and it's not 7 p.m. on that meeting, right? When you're having dinner. So I'll get that out. Thank you very much for everybody attending. I put in the chat, I don't know if everybody saw, but we will post this and the PowerPoint
Oh, yes.
slides tomorrow. It
On the
has
website.
to download onto my computer, and then Doug has to do whatever magic it takes to put it on the website that I don't know how to do. So that will happen, and that should be available sometime tomorrow. I think generally we try to put that out on our Facebook group, that it's available on the website once it's up. So if you want to see that, kind of give us. Usually takes until the afternoon for me to remember how it is that I upload the video that's recorded to my computer, because it only happens once a month, and then I lose the skill in the interim. So thanks everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Thank you to Courtney and Nikki. We really appreciate it. And everyone have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
Good night.